But anyways, getting back to your question, I shouldn't really deviate from your questions. You're the host. My
No,
God.
it's totally fine.
But yeah, the first album came out on MCA, and that was back in '85 and '86. And I should also give a shout out to John Balby, who, believe it or not, John Balby, who actually helped launch my career, because prior to MCA picking up my album, it was released on his record label. And I did a lot of work with John in the studio. John's a very serious musician, well behind everything that everybody knows him more popularly for. But John is a great musician. He was a great friend, and he was really a great benefactor to me. So having that record fabricated and done and ready to go was a major help when Jerry Myers took it to MCA, and then they liked it. I was signed by the vice president there, which was kind of cool. But again, big record company. What happens is I got signed, and it took at least 10 months for that thing to come out. Now, things changed rapidly in the music business then. So in that 10-month period, the guy who signs me all of a sudden assigned somebody else to head the jazz division. That guy used to own his own record label.
Change of direction.
And he brings over all his people. But despite all that, it was a real good first step, because a lot of my music from that album was heard regularly at Entertainment Tonight. And in fact, I've got some samples that we might be hearing throughout the night. So that's what happened there. So that was a real good first step. And then we kept on going, and had an opportunity with Atlantic Jazz, which the MCA record created that possibility. So that worked out really, really great. So we went from MCA to Atlantic, and those were the fun times. That was the height of the so-called smooth jazz movement.
Yeah.
But typical me, a little bit, a dollar late sometimes, or a day late and a dollar short. That movement was sort of just starting to kind of wind down by the end of the '90s, and it needed people to keep pushing it. And Ahmet Erdogan, who is the founder of Atlantic Records, his brother Nashui was in charge of the jazz division, and unfortunately, while my record is climbing up the charts, Nashui, he became afflicted with pancreatic cancer and passed away. So when he passed away, the people at Atlantic were like, what do we do with this jazz stuff? So they stuck us all over into the rap division.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is what happens though. I mean,
Yeah.
This is one of the things that goes on. Unfortunately, when you're doing something artistic for a living, directions change. People's visions change.
Things that are not within your control. It was a really exciting period. And you asked me about the Steve Gadd, Paul Schaefer thing. Yeah, it was really cool to have the opportunity to meet with people that were like, I really, really envied. Real quick, how that happened was, in between all this other stuff in the '80s, okay, I've got a song that ends up going in the Spaceballs movie, which Mel Brooks movie. And while that's going on, Jerry Myers gets the idea to capitalize on that big song, the big soap opera hit with Gloria Loring and Carl Anderson. So he calls up Gloria Loring and says, you got a hit song here, let's make an album, let's get it out, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, he finds out that the other singer, Carl Anderson, is trying to do the same thing. So we're in this race against time. Who's going to capitalize on the hit first? So he calls up Gloria Loring, and she says, yeah, I'll come into Buffalo. Sure, I'll sign with your record label, and let's do it, So she comes into Buffalo, and I didn't think it was going to happen. We had a Select Sound picnic, by the way, on a Sunday. That was the day Gloria Loring was actually supposed to come to the picnic. So we're all at the picnic, looking over our shoulders. Where's Jerry? Where's Gloria? What's going on? Nobody shows up. So we're like, well, I just keep drinking and playing baseball, right? I go home that night. I'm totally exhausted. Jerry Myers calls me up at 9:30, and he says, where are you? Gloria's over at my house. Get over here. So I got to go over to her house. I've got to meet her. We've got to pick all the songs. I've got to go home. I've got to chart out 8 songs, arrange 8 songs, literally overnight with no sleep. Be in the studio the next day at 9 o'clock, and we start cutting tracks. With Teddy was there, Teddy Reinhardt.
Okay.
Jerry Livingston was playing bass. But what happened was we were finding out that we were losing the duel with the other guy.
So the race was getting
So what Jerry decided we had to do was, he said, let's go to a place where they're more used to doing some quick mass productions. So they wanted to move the rest of the project to New York City. And Gloria insisted that I come along as co-producer of the project. So I'm meeting with the people from the label on a Sunday. We fly to New York. And I was just having fun. I mean, I'm just this naive idiot from Buffalo, New York. So the guy asked me, he says, well, do you have any choice of musicians you'd like to have on this record? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, I do. I said,
no way. Is this how this happened?
This is honest to God how this happened. So I just said, it was like Christmas. So I just said, yeah. I said, could I get Paul Schaefer to play keyboards? And I'm thinking they're going to laugh at me, right?
Yeah.
And the guy says, that shouldn't be a problem. I'll give Paul a call later. I said, oh, okay. Well, what about Steve Gadd on drums? That shouldn't be a problem.
Oh my God!
And it goes on from there. So and they said, do you have a choice of bass players? I said, no. I said, I'm pretty happy. You pick who you want on that. Well, anyways, the bass player turned out to be Neil Jason, who wrote Cyndi Lauper's hit "Girls Just Want to Have Fun."
No kidding.
Yeah, he was the bass player, and then the guitar player, besides myself, was George Wedanius, who goes on tour frequently with Donald Fagen, better known as Steely Dan.
Yeah. Wow.
But it was a cool experience. I mean, the best part was is getting to meet these people really as human beings. I mean, having drinking a Diet Pepsi, eating pizza, and what Paul Schaefer wants to talk to me about is, hey, what's the weather like? I'm from Perry Sound or wherever he was from, Thunder Bay.
Yeah.
He was talking about the weather. Steve Gadd, being from Rochester, he was saying, hey, how are the school systems there? He gave me a half-hour diatribe on how much he hated the New York City school systems, and it was tough because he had to go pick up his kids. And this is the human side of superstars, and it was great that I had a chance to see that.
Yeah, and in total pros and the best in the business.
Great. I mean, they welcomed me like I was a somebody, and quite frankly, I was a nobody. But they treated me as an equal, and I'll never forget that. I mean, you really feel like you've arrived. And again, having all this stuff happen within this 3-year window, I really thought, God, all the dues have been paid. It's finally going to happen. Again, but as quickly as doors open in this business and opportunities are there, they can close.
Exactly. I think we have a sample of something that, this is something you recorded a while back. This is one of my favorite Dick Bauerely songs.
Oh, no.
Why this was not a hit, I have no idea.
Oh, I have plenty of ideas.
So tell me about this. What are we listening to?
That is the Eyewitness News rap.
Just to get Irv to rap, I think, would have been amazing. Just amazing.
Well, the funny part is, Mike Randall, who still does weather.
He does, yeah. Mike comes to my store.
There he is right there. Mike set this up. And he's the one, I can't claim credit, he's the one who got Mary McCombs and Tom and Irv and Rick, and they had a riot doing it. So, and again, what do I know about rap? I mean, I'm a pop guy, so
Right.
I think if you listen to the music bed, and I shouldn't really say this, if you listen to it carefully, it's more or less a rip-off on Rapture by Blondie, only with a couple of heavier guitars in it.
Obviously, I'm having a little bit of fun with you.
Yeah, really, God. That's my legacy.
I told you, I've got a crack research team that checks this stuff out for me. It's amazing. There's a great YouTube video, though, with an interview of you doing that, and that's something you should be proud of, too. It's just something cool that you did for Buffalo, which is great. And you've been a big supporter and proponent of Buffalo music and Buffalo itself, and you've done so many neat things. Sports broadcaster, engineer, it's just amazing. Still performing. It's just outrageous.
Jack of all trades, master of none,
I've seen you play guitar. You're pretty masterful, my friend.
And let's not forget my day job. I actually work here at Entercom by day,
Thank
and that's
God
fun
you
too.
do, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you.
And I finally get a chance to use my college education, kind of, sort of, in my day job. So now I'm a completely rounded human being.
That's right. And you've got a great radio voice. What other local musicians have you worked with besides? I mean, Teddy, the Reinhardt brothers are just outrageous, and that's the thing about Buffalo. We've talked about this, you and I privately. We've talked about it a lot of different times. How amazing the talent is here in Buffalo.
Oh, I think again, I've been around the scene for a real long time, and I probably worked with pretty much everybody at one time or another. I mean, I've done guitar clinics with Doug Yeomans. Recently, Doug's a great guy. We get along great.
He's a great guy and a great player.
Yeah, and it's cool when we do a clinic, we play so differently that it's a real fun mix of different styles when Doug and I have a chance to do stuff together. But obviously the Reinhardt brothers, I've known Teddy going back to Kenmore East. Let me give a shout out. It was the 50th anniversary of Kenmore East, and I only shout it out because a little bit of local trivia. Stuart Ziff, who now plays with War, okay, Dave Costantino, Teddy Reinhardt, myself, Bruce Bricado, Billy Sheehan were all at Kenmore East at the same time.
Unbelievable.
So, I mean, Kenmore East was really, a lot of the props went to the old Westside guys, like Stan and all those guys. But Kenmore East has an absolutely amazing legacy. And when I think about how, if we'd been smart, we all would have played in the same band. Who knows what could have happened, but we were all playing in different bands. But
what a hotbed of talent.
And we all know each other. So I mean, I've done sessions with with Dave, and he's come over and sung on stuff with me in the past. But I mean, I think I pretty much played with everybody. I had the great honor to play with Sandy Konikoff and Stan Celeste on a couple of sessions. We produced some stuff for a lady out in Lancaster. We played 4 songs, and they're in the archives at Select Sound. I mean, what an honor that was. I mean, I played with the great Stan Celeste, and Joe Hesse played bass.
Really?
By the by, in that session, and Sandy played drums.
Yeah, unbelievable. We're gonna take a short pause here and cover some more stuff, talk to Dick. We got a lot of guests to get to. Gonna come back with Suzanne Perry, who's gonna talk about OP Music House, something really cool that she has going on. And stick around, folks, okay?